Hi, this is Shakira.
And this is Lia,
We're cooking up a great conversation.
starting with a cup of insights,
Add a tablespoon of fun.
a slice of drama,
Drama. A pinch of salt.
para may konting alat, and lots of pepe.
Siyempre, may anghang.
Welcome to Salt and Pepe Podcast.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Salt and Pepe Podcast.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Salt and Pepe Podcast. We have another episode. How are you? Hi Kia, how are you?
I'm good. Everything's fine. Coming back from a business trip last week, so that was an
Nice.
experience after 4 years already of the work
Oh,
from home, right? So this is my first really was my first in-person event. So very interesting. Parang natatakot ako ng una na parang feeling ko baka hindi na ako marunong humarap sa tao. With the
pero
business,
enjoy.
in the business, uh,
Environment.
business attitude and business, pero sabi ko, okay, I'm just gonna wing it. I feel like I got shyer, but I don't know. They've never met me before, so say they wouldn't know the difference. I think I did okay.
I'm
Ikaw,
sure you
kamusta?
did. Ako, laging been going out actually, trying new activities.
Mm-hmm.
Finally played pickleball the
Mm-hmm.
other time and then played billiards as
Mm-hmm.
well.
Mm-hmm.
So, exploring the queer community here in Toronto.
Oh,
Very
that's
interesting
nice.
too.
Very
Yes.
exciting. Very
Exciting times.
exciting. Yeah.
Yes.
So I think this particular episode we didn't really count on doing it. It
Yes.
just was a big surprise kasi naka-schedule na yung mga episode topics namin. I mean, not to be strict about it. I think we've been pretty flexible. But then this
Yes.
wasn't really part of the lineup. It's just because my dear friend Leah surprised me in New York when I was there last month. And then
Yes.
so we turned it into like a great day together, right?
Yes, because I'm busy kasi during the weekends here, no? And then Kia said, "Oh, I'm gonna be running
Mhm.
on the marathon March 17." Yung pala, that's also a break here. So really cleared up my weekend. And
Mhm.
then on that week, because I also wanted to meet up friends and, just keep myself busy, I
Mhm.
decided to meet up. Although na-surprise din ako kasi nga unfortunately for some reason hindi ka nakatakbo,
Mhm.
but I'm so happy you still went. I was just like, I hope she feels going. And then go to
Yeah, it
everything.
it all worked out. I guess part
Yeah.
of Salt and Pepe Adventures and part of the I was scheduled I was accepted in the NYC half marathon. It's a race that I've been doing on and off for the past probably 15 years. Pero in January, December I got COVID, and then January I hurt my back. So by that time na naka-recover ako, it wasn't enough time to train anymore. And if there's one thing that I know from experience, that there's nothing worse than doing a long race, running race, if you're not properly trained. It's really a
True.
traumatic experience.
Oh
So
my,
I didn't
totoo.
want to, ayoko nang ulitin yon. And I think until a few weeks before the trip, parang it was in danger of being canceled. Kasi parang, oh, what's the
Mm.
point? Because, it's a big production also to take that
Okay.
trip. So I think in the end, we decided na, okay, let's just do it. It's a good time to go. And we kind of figured out ano bang gagawin namin. And then, surprise, surprise, I found out that Leah was going to surprise me. And actually, it worked out better kasi I think you
Yes.
were just going to surprise me sa finish line. And so we wouldn't
Yes.
have had time to hang out, which would have been unfortunate. It would be very sweet but I think it would have been unfortunate because we wouldn't have had time to really hang out. And I think because I wasn't doing the race and we saw each other earlier, we had like a full day almost together, that which is like,
Yes.
that was very, very nice. So thank you so much for being so thoughtful. That was a really special time for me because those are, well, everything that we did are things that I love doing but I don't really get a chance to do because ikaw lang yata yung kakilala ko na gusto din gawin yon, right?
Yeah, so because nga we had so much time, Kia said, you suggested it, right?
Mhm,
Do you wanna walk? I'm like, of course. Because I really had right now, I really have so much
mhm,
time in my hands. Not really, but things I can just say
mhm,
yes to,
mhm, mhm,
right? So when Kia said, let's do the bridge walk, which is our activity really, so exciting that we got to
mhm.
do that. And
And
because of that, while we
yeah.
were walking,
Uh-huh.
yeah,
Go
diba?
ahead.
When we were
Yeah.
walking, he said, "Let's do a New York podcast." I'm like,
Uh-huh.
"Oh, sige, cool. Sige." So
Right.
that was exciting because New York, that's our well, Kia
Favorite
Reno. So
city.
in love
Yeah.
with it, and Kia, of course, lived there for long. Favorite city talaga. So New York talaga is our favorite
Mm-hmm.
city. So
Mm-hmm.
we decided to make a podcast. So what's our podcast for today?
Yeah. So welcome formally to episode 7, our special episode about New York City.
Yeah.
We have a long history of our love for New York City. So we need to
Mhm.
start from the very beginning. Like, first things first. What is your personal history with New York? I know that mula nung nakilala kita, that's always been your dream city. So tell me about when you first started dreaming about New York.
Um, I don't know if I love New York because of my interest
Mm-hmm.
or because of New York I had so much interest. But anyway, when I think of New York kasi everything is there. Like I love baseball, so if everybody doesn't know, I'm a baseball coach. I play softball, so
Mm-hmm.
baseball is really the sport I love. So I love the New York Yankees. I love Derek Jeter. I love Broadway, so I watch musicals in the
Mm-hmm.
Philippines a lot. And of course, movies. So it's always New York will always be a movie setting,
Uh-huh.
and especially because I love The Godfather. So sobrang love yung Godfather, and that's a setting in New York.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and Kia knows this. I always say to my friends, feeling ko my past life. I was born in Italy, in
Gangster
Sicily.
ka ba? Oh,
Oo.
Sicilian!
Oo, Sicilian
Well,
talaga
at
ako.
least you have the hair now for being a Sicilian.
Yes. Tapos nag-migrate ako sa New York. Yun yung honest, I really, really think that's my past life. Eh, hindi ako gangster. Ano lang, ako lang yung driver ng
That's
gangster.
okay, right? It's
So, yan.
better.
Oo, delivery, ano lang. Kasi ganun talaga yung buhay, 'di ba? So, I have my
Mm-hmm.
page boy hat because I love that look
Mm-hmm.
talaga. So, yun lang. Feeling ko yun yung um, background ko, past life. And then, I really like it's really interesting kahit Gangs of New York. I love that movie too, The Five Boroughs. It's very interesting. So I was super New York obsessed. And
Mm-hmm.
then Kia nga moved there. Super funny if you see my Facebook before. It's really, I'm gonna go there. Like ko sinasabi yun. Tapos, nang aasar yun. Sasabihin niya, ang pangit-pangit dito. Don't go here. Mga, mga comments
very
ni Kia nun. So,
very cinematic naman yung image mo of New York.
Oo, at that time, kuwento ko rin later when we talk about my first time in New York because
Mhm,
my first time was really in 1991, so we'll make that kwento later
mhm,
on. So I'm just New York obsessed because it's so different how it's painted. There's so many things about New York, the naughty side before.
mhm.
Basta if you look at the history of New York, it's so different. Of course, also hip hop histories. Ay, so many things. Grabe, it can take forever to talk about it, diba? So
True.
we'll talk about that within the podcast itself. So how about you? Ito, and I will not get tired of this story of you. Sobra hanggang ngayon, kinikilig pa rin talaga ako.
Ah,
But for our new listeners, how did you end up in New York?
it's
Yeah.
funny because listening to your love for New York from the beginning of time. Parang ako yata yung pinakaayaw sa New York from the very start. Kasi I never really thought about moving to New York or what's the big deal about New York. Parang it was really like out of my mind. And also, parang, well, of course, that's why like the universe or destiny really will give you what you don't want, what you always want to fight. So I never had that fantasy. And also when I was much younger, I had these like idealistic ideas na parang I'm never going to leave the Philippines. I'm going to serve my country. Mga ganyang ideas that I really wanted to do because I just felt like everybody was always fantasizing about leaving. Tapos parang sabi ko, I'm not gonna do that. I'm just going to stay. And siguro parang narinig ako. Narinig
Ganun,
yata.
no?
Narinig yata ako ng destiny. And
Oo.
even that time, like when I was in college, I was dating somebody who really, really loved New York, was
Oh.
fantasizing about New York. Tapos nung nalaman niya na my mom and I were going to take a trip to the States, parang may parinig siya na, oh, makikita mo na yung New York, like favorite kong city, and like, I really wanna go and whatever. Tapos ako parang, it's a big deal. Parang, parang syempre, pag bata ka, parang, kung
Yes.
ano yung gusto ng lahat, parang gusto mo na, parang ano ba? Ano ba yun? Parang everybody just wants to go to the States or something. So, actually, I visited New York in 1996, I think. So, and for me that time, maybe it was just a short trip or hindi ko masyadong in-internalize. And also, I guess I was really fighting it, right? Kasi parang ayoko talaga na ma-attract. Ayoko parang i-idealize siya. I didn't want it to become an option for me. I wasn't really paying attention. Tas parang when I came home, parang sinabi ko lang dun sa ex ko na parang, hindi, wala, parang kubaw lang yun na aircon, ganun. Pa yung sinasabi ko na parang, it's just an air-conditioned kubaw. Like, it's not a big deal. It's just busy and it's a little cold. That's it. And then parang nilimit ko na lang siya doon. And then, I was really fighting it. Even the time na nauso yung Sex and the City, then everyone was just like, New York, New York. And, and then my older sister was starting to do like trips to New York for work. Tapos parang she would say that, oh, I was running in Central Park. Parang sabi ko, parang, oh, that's nice. Parang the concept of doing something na is being done in pop culture or something. Oh, parang ang galing. Pero
Mhm.
I still was like, no, that's what
Mhm.
everybody wants. So parang hindi talaga hindi. So of course, kaka, kaka,
Kakaayaw mo.
kaka-resist ko about everything about moving away, moving abroad, moving to the States, especially, and especially a city like New York. The destiny decided to plop into my lap a opportunity. So, I guess for new listeners out there or those who have forgotten the story that I told before, in 1998, I met my now wife at the Asian Lesbian Network conference in Diliman. So that's the first time that we met, and everyone was just talking about this woman named Ross from New York. Tapos parang everyone was parang sobrang pinagkakaguluhan siya kasi nga New York. So ako naman parang every time naririnig ko New York, parang yeah, whatever, New York. New York na naman. Kakaasar naman yan, parang pinagkakaguluhan nyo like that. The being from New York doesn't make you a better person or a more interesting person, di ba? So parang I didn't really pay much attention to it. Although, she was really cute. And then, someone was trying to set us up, but it wasn't the right time that time. It wasn't until 2002 that we actually got together when she visited the Philippines again. Tapos, that time that we were together, I think mga 3 weeks lang kami together. And then she had to go back to New York already. And I was in the middle of my MBA. So parang yung agreement namin, parang see you when I see you na lang. Because we weren't about to give up either of our lives. Right? So parang, okay, sige, bye. Maybe one day we'll see each other again. Pero parang it was good as, wala, that was just a fling or something. But then like a few weeks later, she actually said to me, would you like to go on an adventure with me? I mean,
Wow.
that adventure meaning
Ay.
try to move to New York or something. So ako naman, ako naman, sige, let's check this out because it was really, I think, I met someone special and sabi ko, it's worth a shot because it just seemed like after I met her, everything that was in Manila, my whole life that I had like set out for me already, it just, parang it became gray na parang, oh, I'm not sure if this has the same meaning to me, if I'm not going to pursue this relationship. So, mga a month, was it like a month? Mga a month and a half later after she left, I actually packed everything. I dropped out of my MBA in UP, gave up my apartment, quit my job, packed everything up, and moved to New York
Wow.
on like a total leap of faith. Right? Na parang, hindi ko kilala tong taong to, right? Kasi
Yeah.
3 weeks lang kami magkasama. So, of course, puro parang super honeymoon period na parang, ano bang mangyayari? Like, of course, it's not going to last. Like, ano ba yun? Gaano ba katagal maglalast yung kangkangang central na yan, right? It's parang, can't possibly sustain
True.
that. And parang pili ko, hindi ko to kilala yung taong to. Baka mamaya when I get to New York, ang kinakain lang niya pancakes at saka burgers. Tas baka hindi ko makain ng Filipino food. Sabi ko na parang, oh no, I was really expecting that I would end up homeless and it would be a disaster because that was really a really big possibility of what could happen if you kind of throw your whole life away for something na wala. It's like so illogical and whatever. So that was 2002. It was very, very challenging. But, long story short, 22 years later, here I am. Here we are, 22 years together and 12 years married in September. So that is my quick story about how I ended up in New York.
'Di ba? Super favorite story pa rin. But of course, it's a nice destiny story. But of course, as you said, you worked on it naman talaga. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
like on a whim, yes. But of course, diba, in your head, you always thought there might be a possibility na hindi mag-work. But,
Oh,
'di ba? Ang galing, galing talaga ng story.
yeah,
Super
right?
enjoy it until now. Tapos, super saya. So before we continue, of course, we would like to have a little brief history of New York. So if you can share something about New York's history. Wait, ilang years na pala ikaw nagstay sa New York?
So I lived in New York for 20 years,
Awesome.
2002 to 2022. And now we are now living in Nevada. So 2 years away from New York. So it's actually a good time to talk about New York because I always feel that you don't really know the value of the place until you're not there anymore. And you know this, and all the people who have left the Philippines know this, kung the experience of leaving the Philippines, parang dun ko lang talaga na rin naramdaman parang what I actually lost, what I miss, and what I value. So same way after 20 years in New York, this is also the time that I'm really realizing what I really valued and miss about New York. It's hard to feel that pag nandiyan ka pa eh. So parang kunyari nasa Manila ka, parang yeah, you may love Manila, you may be able to enumerate the things that you like about it, but you have no idea really what you value until wala na siya sa'yo. It's like a person you lost. You don't really
True.
know what you have
Mhm.
until it's gone. So yeah, 22 years later. So
Wow. So, a history of New York.
brief history about New York. I guess we should talk about why New York is the way it is, right? Um it is such a diverse place because of the history of New York being the landing point of so many immigrants in history. So all different kinds of cultures, parang intermix and became a melting pot. New York became a melting pot. And actually, as many as 800 languages are spoken in New York. Actually, meron ako nabasa recently that there's one avenue in Queens. I don't know if you've been to Roosevelt Avenue there. I read recently that parang there's one strip of like Roosevelt Avenue in Queens where parang 300 languages are spoken in just parang I don't
That
know
strip,
ten blocks or something, which I thought
wow,
was very very impressive, right? So
super.
so and those things can only happen really in New York. So I learned that New York is the most linguistically diverse city in the world. I guess that's the circumstance of New York. Its history just made multiculturalism thrive. Because there's a lot of other places na dinadaanan ng iba't ibang klaseng culture but it's not embraced. Parang part of it is rejected or you're met with racism, you know. And so
Mm,
hindi masyado siyang celebrated na parang everybody thrives and everybody makes a life for themselves in
yes,
in New York. So I think that's simply the essence of New York and why it is the way it is. And I think because of that, no matter what kind of person you are, whatever your interests are, whatever race you are, whatever age, whatever
status
whatever
lahat.
wherever you are on the spectrum, whatever hobbies you are, anything that you can think of, you will find someone like you in New York. I don't think there's a place in the world where you can find that person with the same interest that you, no matter what it is, even if it's like stamp collecting, like parang pinaka very very specific interest, you will find it in New York, which makes it a really fascinating place.
Super. And he said nga, talagang different cultures. So when I went there,
Mhm,
experience ko, that was the first thing actually talagang you'll notice.
mhm,
I love that yung first initial pag-upo ko ng subway at pagtingin kong gano'n, wow, hindi kami magkakamukha. That's the first thing I said. We don't look alike. Kasi unlike, I'm so used to going to LRT, MRT, di ba? You go down,
mhm,
you look the
mhm,
same there. Really, really
mhm.
different. As in, different nationality. Hindi lang yung Asia na marami. Hindi. Talaga,
No,
ano talaga,
every
United
single
Nations.
kind of person. Right. I have a
It's
lot to say about the subway later on, and part of it touches on that too. Yeah,
so
so it's
yun.
that's really fascinating.
So talagang that's what I enjoyed exactly the different cultures and then
Mhm,
even the status
mhm,
of in New York yung really the poorest of the poor, the richest of the rich are merged. Unlike as in the Philippines, you can see talaga like
mhm,
there's a divide.
mhm,
In New
mhm,
York, you live in New York, anybody can live in New York, right?
mhm,
As long as you have, if you can pay the subway, di mag-subway
mhm,
ka
mhm,
kahit sino ka man, 'di ba? And one kwento I was like in the subway and there's like two old couple, really like lola levels sa talaga, like older than our parents. Pero sobrang postura, like really dressed up. And I think they're gonna watch a Broadway. You know, feeling ko, they're gonna watch a
mhm,
Broadway show.
mhm.
Really, with all the jewelry in the
Mhm.
subway. And
Yeah,
I'm, wow,
yeah.
interesting. Would ride the subway to go to 42nd to
Mhm,
watch Broadway and then I can see there yung mga bata tapos dito yung madungis
mhm,
landol, they're just
mhm.
there. So that's what I really love about New York, yung culture and of course diversity. And of course some countries have this naman. So what makes New York stand out? I mean Toronto's like that too, but what
Yeah.
makes New York stand out
I
for you?
think from the very, very beginning, I think like, because I feel like there's so many places right now that are already diverse. Diversity is celebrated, but not from the beginning of time. I feel like New York of course it has its own issues, its own like racism or whatever. But I feel like kasi talagang yung influx ng mga tao sa New York, it didn't give people a chance to to discriminate really. Kasi very, very quickly, um the new people, like other cultures, like outnumbered whoever were the original or the first inhabitants of that, like, in New England. Parang they couldn't really say, you can't keep fighting it kasi parang everybody was making their way to New York. So parang that was just the way it was. And even if you look at the art scene, right, from dance to music, cinema, visual arts, it's all in New York. Everything is celebrated, every kind of dance, every kind of art form, right? There
Yeah.
is something that you can find in New York. And businesses also, I think it attracts the best and the brightest in the world. And I used to like, before moving to New York and before really understanding New York, I was like, "Uy, Saj naman, hindi naman ganyan, ang yayabang nyo lang." Right? But actually living there and meeting everybody, like you really know that these are the best, bright, like smartest people in the world you'll meet. Because first of all, di ba nga Frank Sinatra said that he was right that if you make it there, you'll make it anywhere because it's really, really hard to make it, right? Real estate rents very expensive, cost of living is very expensive, like you're competing with the best in the world, right? So because of that, whoever does make it or whoever is able to keep a job and survive in New York, that these are the best people that you'll ever meet. And that's another thing that I took for granted and realized only when I left New York na parang, oh nga, parang brain drain yata yung ibang places, right? Like, for example, where I am now, supposedly this state is like the second, like, poorest educational system or rank in the country na parang, ay, ano, parang, I I feel so smart here. Ang yabang ko, pero I don't think you'll realize that until you actually leave it. And also even the conversations that you have in New York, you can't really find outside of New York. I know it sounds parang ang yabang na and I'm exaggerating, but you really have to experience it to know. So because of this, because the best and the brightest converge in New York, find success in New York, everything, like you have the best of the best, whether it's like business or art or the culinary scene, especially, right? With all the different cultures and also all the industries and everything that we had access to in New York. You have the best food and the best restaurants in the world are in New York City. Kaya nga pag sinasabing, oh, I guess we get that a lot here now na parang, oh, you're from New York. Nako, ang taas ng standards mo. We met someone here na nag-open ng parang modern Filipino restaurant, and then they found out that we're from New York. Parang na-intimidate ka agad sila na automatically. They thought na parang, we'll be so picky. But it's true, you can't help but be exposed to really, not the best things, but I was gonna say the finest things. But actually, what makes New York so great is that you can have the best things, but it's accessible. Like if you want it, like you can get it. Kasi pero there's so many other places that you have access to, like the really nice things or great things or great people or whatever it is, but it's hard to reach. You have to be part of some kind of like economic elite to be
Yes.
able to access it. It's not for the ordinary person. But in New York, even if you're an ordinary person, even if you're not even making enough money, you're able to access it somehow, right? So in that way, it's open to everyone. And I guess you feel that too, that opportunity is like just there for you to grab. Na
Yes.
totoo siya na it's not a
Yes.
it's not exag. It's not like a parang, di ba sinasabi na, no, you have to just work hard and whatever and it will come to you. But in a lot of places, that's not really true
Mm-hmm.
because it's really hard. But because nga yung minention mo kanina na parang intermingling of, racist cultures and even social status, there's always a chance for your life to change somehow. Like, one of my favorite stories is like, I have a friend na parang I think nasa college pa yata siya or starting college or something. Tapos wala siyang mahanap na job. So, working student, she decided na mag-work siya sa isang gym, taga-handout ng towels. Tapos kakagawa niya ng handing out towels every day, day in, day out. There's a banker who thought that she was special and said, what are you studying? And then she's like, oh, accounting. And then gave her a job in like one of the big banks where she just like soared and had like a great career. All because you handed out towels. You don't hear those stories kasi parang feeling mo napaka-miracle naman, hindi naman nangyayari. But you hear these stories all the time, right? Na
Yes.
parang, that these things don't really happen outside of New York, right? Parang
Yes.
it's just always it's such a New York story, right? Even the like later on, I guess I'll talk about how I got my first job in New York, which was also a great story. But
Yes.
all in all, like I always mention this too, and especially now that I'm not in New York anymore, because of everything that goes on in New York, there's really an energy that you feel when you're in New York. And
Can't explain.
people actually say that the moment the plane lands, which is funny because you're technically not in the city yet. You're still in the plane. And you still have all these people who came from another city or state or even country. But the moment it lands, meron na talagang hum. There's a hum in the plane na parang there's an energy, and people are like raring to go somewhere. Like it's really, I learned now, it really is in your veins. It's like being part of this great, very complex machine that if you're doing fine in New York, I'm not saying na kailangan super successful ka, but you're just doing fine, you're surviving, you just feel like you're on top of the world. I don't know if you felt this, pero parang you feel like you're part of this great machine, and you feel like you might not even be the best in the world, but you feel like you're part of the best thing that ever happened. I don't know kung exag yun na parang siguro if I didn't live in New York, tapos narinig ko yun, parang sabi ko, exag nyo naman, gusto nyo lang magyabang, like that's not really true. But that feeling, I highly, highly recommend experiencing it, even just for a visit and totally absorbing New York the way I did not do during my first visit. But if you ever get the opportunity and if you ever have a choice to visit like one city in the world, try it and just to experience it and to see, because I feel like it's like no other. And so I want to know if that was your first reaction, or what was your first reaction when you arrived in New York?
Yes. When Kia said about the energy, the vibe, I call it the vibe,
Mhm.
it's absolutely correct. It's different. You can't explain it nga eh, diba? It's, yes, if you have the chance, and if you see, if you want to visit the States, United, you should try to think, put New York in your IT if you're gonna visit the United States. I remember what you said before eh. What did you say about it's New York and the rest of the I forgot what you said.
Ang
Was it
yabang, ang yabang. Alam mo, actually, when I was in the Philippines, tas naririnig ko yun, parang ano ba yan? Ang OA naman. But you know what? Like when you like, I lived there 20 years, so you can't say that I don't have basis. It just really feels like it's the center of the world.
Yes.
So I
Yes,
don't
it's
know if
different.
people who are visiting will feel that, but to me, I just felt like this is the center. And I guess the rest is just like periphery. I'm not saying they're not trying to be New York. It's just New York and other cities.
Yeah, that was it. New York and
Right?
other cities. Yes.
Yeah.
So, your question, no, first time arrived. So, ako naman, I went to New York in 1991. Kasi nga, my family is in East Coast, so New Jersey and Connecticut. And then, my tita works the United Nations
Mhm,
nga.
mhm.
So when we got chance to have a vacation, they brought us to New York. So, weird pa yung experience ko doon. Parang naharas pa ako. Basta weird.
Mhm.
So, but when we were walking, I really can't forget. Siguro yun din yung motivation ko na parang, shucks, I have to go back to this city.
Mhm.
So we were walking. As in, you will see people homeless singing, doing what they
Uh-huh.
wanna do.
Uh-huh.
You won't see that in Manila. We were just walking. Kasi naman, what I like about my family, parang, oh, ka dyan, hindi siya ganun yung parang, ay gosh, nakakatakot. Walang ganon. Parang,
It's
did you
just
see
part
that?
of it.
Yes, you did you see that? Oh, he's ganyan. Basta, it's just like parang adventure. So, we walked na nga the streets of New York. Siyempre, you see the big buildings already. 1991, hindi pa siya
Ah,
yung New York right
uh-huh.
now because iba rin ginawa ni Mayor, di ba? Giuliani, not anyway. But, um, so different. And then, at night, yun ang favorite na ginagawa ng tito ko, drive naman in the
Mhm.
city at night because you have to visit it at night
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
it's alive.
Mhm.
Really,
Mhm.
right?
It
So,
doesn't sleep.
doesn't sleep talaga. So when we were going around, then tita will just bring us, oh, you know that you see that church? That's actually a disco.
Uh-huh.
Kami naman talaga, wow, so cool, di ba? Parang, it's a different na talaga. It's like, I don't know, if you watch, not man sci-fi, siguro like Twilight Zone or Black Mirror, yung
Mhm.
parang ganon, you're like in a city that's, you won't believe na may ganong city, pero may
Mhm.
ganon. So, that was my first experience. I was 12, 13 years old and I said, I have to go back. And of course, I went back na like 2013. Yan. Salt and Pepe na and
Salt and
ah,
pepper na ba?
oo. Matagal na kasi
They're
ito eh.
starting.
Yung hair lang, yung hair. Pero yung experiences kulang pa. So anyway, so yun. So the first reaction, because that was the time, ito na nga where the universe just helped me. Kasi nga, Facebook, he was also surprised. Parang, wow, you're here. It's like, because I always put it on Facebook if
Mhm.
something happens nice in New York, pinopost ko yon. I was like, oh, one day, I'll be there. Ganyan. Or I'll see that next time. Ganyan. um, Hindi man ako yung obsessed. I just wanted to visit New York. That's all actually what
Mhm.
I wanted to do. Hindi pa nga the thought I can live there. I just wanted to go back.
Mhm.
So anyway, so opportunity came. Actually, I stayed in New Jersey, pero
Mhm.
syempre, the work was in New York. We'll talk about that later. So, when I came back, yun na, talagang breathing everything in. Really the vibe,
Mhm.
observing the people,
Mhm.
how they move, listening to all the
Mhm.
languages. So, it's really what I was
Mhm.
expecting and so much more. So, yun
Mhm.
yung reaction ko. Talagang, feeling ko ang saya-saya ko. Siguro, New York is not the cleanest city, ah. I mean, if you go there, it's not. The subways stinks. It's so
Mhm.
different. But the vibe kasi is one of a kind. You cannot explain it.
Mhm.
So, when I went there, actually, people might disagree, but it's a super high level ng Manila. Kasi I think, kung marunong ka magdiskarte,
Mhm.
I think that's because nga 'di ba? Yung sabi mo nga, it's like a Cubao na mas malamig. Kasi nga, puro buildings, and then you will
Yeah,
see people, and
mabilis.
mabilis, galaw lang ng
Daming
galaw.
tao.
Pero kasi
Right.
cinematic din, because
Right.
if you watch movies, you know the
Mhm.
landmarks. And then there's
Mhm.
a nice central park. So, really, see, I'm talking so fast kasi exciting talaga.
It's a
Yun ang,
New York energy.
yes, it is. So, yun ang first reaction ko. It was the city I was expecting. Uh, the culture and hindi mo naman feel na super welcome ka, but you know that, kasi siguro ako rin, ayoko ng tao may pake. So, alam ko
Right.
wala silang pake sa akin.
Mhm.
So, I
Mhm.
can be who I am in New
Mhm.
York. I can
Mhm.
dress the way I want to, go where. But of
Mhm.
course, if hindi bumabagal ka talaga, mababangga ka doon. So, you just have to know if you're gonna pause for something, make sure you clear this area. If you just stop there, baka biglang mabangga ka lang. Yun lang. So for me, that was my first reaction from childhood 13. I said I have to go back. And then I got the
Mhm.
chance to go back and so happy to see it and you feel the vibe talaga. Ikaw, since sabi mo nga, una ayaw mo siya talaga. And then, yes.
I think I
What was your
really
first
need.
reaction?
I wish that I had the same first time experience as you that a local showed me. New York because I
Yes.
didn't. I was with my mom, so she was also a little scared and unsure. They didn't really know where to go. So parang medyo parang
Ah,
basic
yes.
tourist. And then she didn't get what New York was, right? And was never discussed in our household that it's a great city, even though my dad would go to New York for business every year. It was never discussed like how it was or whatever. Like there really wasn't any of that. So I feel like my experience would have been different if I was, someone showed me around as a local. But it wasn't meant to be. It was meant to be na mapadpad ako and I was dropped in New York and happened to I had to make a life out of it, right? And to, yung mga minimension mo about like homeless people or, they call it now unhoused or houseless, right? Or unsheltered is what the modern term for
I
like
like that.
homeless now. But I did hear side topic, like I did hear that the homeless don't really care what you call them, just help them, right? But my point is, even the homeless are not boring. Like kasi ba everywhere in the States and everywhere in the world, there's always homeless or
Yes.
unhoused people. But in New York, they're actually entertaining sometimes. Or there's always something, just they're not just plainly in need. There's entertainment. There's like, they have may mga show sila sometimes, right? And meron silang, there's I remember in the corner of my subway stop going home to our apartment before. For like 15 years, there's this one guy. He's there day in, day out. And all he does is just make comments to you. And then you're just so impressed with his comments. And it's very sarcastic na mga puro patawa or whatever it was. Na magbibigay ka talaga ng pera. And like, I guess siguro yun talaga yung job niya. And sometimes I think about, I wonder what happened to him because I just stopped seeing him. I bet you he was able to retire because ang
True.
dami-dami, and it was
Diskarte.
actually a good neighborhood, so I'm sure madaming nagbibigay sa kanya just from being witty. And I guess also that's one other thing in New York related to that. Even the most ordinary person, you'll never know that they're like part of something huge. Like mukhang ordinary pero hindi mo alam conductor pala siya sa, Philharmonic,
Yeah.
or they're like Broadway actors, or they're just partners, they're top scientists. Kasi nga best and the brightest, right? So you never know what they're really like. It could be like so much more. But yeah, my first reaction in New York, parang wow, there's so much going on. Little bit intimidating. Um, I was really, I wasn't focused so much on the city itself because I was moving there for someone, but I did have to, make a living, right? So yun yung yung focus ko, and I not until like really years into it na appreciate ko. And actually, I'm appreciating it most now that I'm not there anymore. Kasi nga, and I realize now what I'm missing. But related to what you said, na parang walang pa kayo mga tao, one thing that I did value about New York is the anonymity, right? Kasi in Manila, kahit saan ka magpunta, you'll bump into somebody eh.
Yeah.
Tas merong may kakilala sa'yo eventually, merong babati sa'yo. Parang in New York, you can spend like a whole year na you won't bump into someone, even if you live there. Like I lived there for 20 years and I can count like on one hand the number of times that I bumped into somebody I knew. Kasi nga, it's so big. So big, and there's so much stuff going on, or maybe you just don't pay attention. There's really a chance to disappear. I guess there's my negative part that if you're gonna feel lonely and you feel like, you're invisible, right? But for me, I enjoyed the invisibility because you can just disappear and do whatever you want, and no one's going to notice kahit ano pang gawin mo. And actually, they even said na New York is the best city to cry. Because you can
Yeah.
cry in the subway, for example, and people will give you, not that they don't care, and I guess people sometimes mistake that for not caring, pero parang people will give you the space to just feel what you're feeling, and you don't feel like kawawa ka naman. Parang you don't, people know, have that instinct of they want to be, of when you want to be left alone. And also the concept of personal space, because we're always in each other's faces. The subway is always packed. You're just bumping into people all the time, but actually, miraculously, you're not bumping into them because may training ka na ng personal space. Even kahit na super crowded and you're packed in a subway car, you still are able to maintain that space na no one's touching each other, and it's an automatic understanding. And I didn't realize this until a friend told me the story of, I think nung time na ano ba, inauguration, I think ni Obama in
Mhm.
DC, and they were stuck like exiting the subway system there, and everybody who was there had no concept of personal space. So talagang
Wow.
siksikan, and then everybody was annoyed and people didn't know how to behave. You're just like bumping into people because you don't know how to minimize yourself, and you just don't know how to give that. And it's also a vibe. Yung parang walang pake. We're all together but all apart, and you leave each other alone. And even in the walking pace that you mentioned, di ba? You'll notice that when you go elsewhere, parang ano ba yun? Ang bagal-bagal ng mga tao maglakad. Parang now we actually say, okay, New York pace. Parang, oh, wag naman New York pace yung, we have to define it. But in New York, it's always New York pace yung walking mo. Because if not, you're going to get run over or you might get yelled at. Diba? Yung
Yes.
mga turista parating parang, yung mga New Yorkers sa likod ng mga turista parang, oh God! Ano ba yan? I hate tourists! Bagal-bagal maglakad. You know, and it's because people have places to go, right?
True.
You know, so I want to talk about also the subway system that you mentioned earlier, right? So for those who don't know, or maybe you just see it in the movies, the subway. If you've ever wondered bakit parating pinapakita yung subway in every New York movie, there's always a subway scene, no doubt about it. It's because it's the most complex and oldest transportation system in the world. You know, it's the most like dynamic. I know it fails sometimes may delay. It can be the dirtiest transportation system, but it really will take you anywhere. You know, you have mobility at all times, 24/7 at an affordable price. Like I think right now it's like $2.90 ang subway ticket, but it can take you end to end. Any part of the five boroughs, it can take you that almost
That's far.
$3, right? And you can't even say that about any other place. Yung one fare, single fare lang siya. And what I really enjoyed, and actually I really, really miss a lot because I don't have it anymore, is the fact that you have this like parang personal agency. There's some kind of like independence that you feel when you're in the subway. Kasi at any point you can abandon your mission, or you can change your route. Or you can say, ay no, hindi na ako bibili ng flowers, mag-grocery na lang ako. You can do that at any point. Kung may delay dito sa subway stop na to, parang, ay, ayoko na, I'm just gonna see my friend. You can get off and change your route. And then you can't do that anytime you're driving, especially with the traffic. And that's why everybody is taking the subway in New York City. And that is why, like you mentioned earlier, all social classes and all races and all cultures, they all see each other in the subway train, right? Because it's the most efficient form of transportation. Even if you're like watching a really, really fancy show, opera, or you're watching Broadway or whatever, wherever you're going, the fanciest event, the smartest people will always take the subway because otherwise you'll be stuck in traffic. Or maybe if you're super, super rich that you have all day long to sit in traffic, but it's really not an inefficient use of your time, especially if you're in New York, right? You will take the subway. And only in New York can you actually plan like 8 things in a day or in a morning and be able to accomplish it all. Kasi parang it's so hard to do it anywhere else, especially in a place where you're driving, or parang in a culture where parang isa-isa lang, parang it's too much. And one example of this that I realized was like so uniquely New York is one day I woke up with a frozen shoulder. Since I couldn't move it, I couldn't put my clothes
God.
on or whatever. So parang, oh shit, what am I gonna do? I have to go to work. So I just, got dressed. I went to work. The moment I got to work at 8 a.m., I called a doctor's office, got an appointment at like 10, and then a PT appointment 30 minutes later. They already like wrapped my shoulder, and I was already back at my desk feeling better by noon. Like, you can't do that anywhere else. And that's completely normal. And or maybe you can do that any other places, but you have to be very rich. This one, something like that, any person can do. You
Wow.
can you have like, I mean, any person with insurance, I guess, or any person who has access to healthcare, you can do without without all these other complications or constraints. It's just everything's accessible and you get spoiled by it, right? Because parang another thing is like, if you need a special ingredient or you're craving the most exotic dish or ingredient or whatever, everything is one subway ride away,
Yes.
right? Anything you want, actually. If you're just like, oh, I want to listen to this particular kind of African music in played by a whatever. Be as specific as you can. You can find it by your $3, less than $3 subway ride will take you anywhere you want to go. So, and then you're with all these people, different kinds of people. It really makes you feel that opportunity is at your fingertips and you have access to everything because every kind of person is there. That's why kahit mga artista, right, you see in the subway, because even they know that it's the most efficient way
Yes.
of getting to places, right? Kaya ang daming photo op of celebrities, right, on the train, right? So,
Yes.
if you do ever get a chance to visit New York, ang daming umiiwas sa subway because they think, oy, commuting, parang magta-taxi na lang ako. No, that's not the best way to experience it. You need to take at least like a few subway rides just to feel how it is. Right? So,
Actually, ma-addict ka eh. Once
kasi ang
you
dali,
get
right?
it, yeah, once you get it, it's really complicated. If
Mhm.
but if you get
Once you
it,
learn,
yes, once you learn, you know the express, you know
yeah. And you just
everything. You
have
can get used
to
to it.
read the signs.
Yes.
You get it. And one thing about the subway of New York, you can't ever really get lost.
Mm-mm.
Basta may subway, makakauwi ka. It's never like, oh shit, I don't know how to get home. Yes, you know how to get home. You just have to know how to read the subway map. You'll get home, right? And that's crazy for anybody. Na parang you're not dependent on anybody to tell you where to go or what to do. You can find your own way. And I'm really miss that so much, especially since I'm not a fan of driving. It's
Yes.
just it's a world of like opportunity and adventure just at your fingertips. You don't have to make a schedule, drive to a place, and hope that something happens to you. All you have to do is like stick your head out of your apartment door and something will happen to you and your life could change. Right? I don't know if that's an exaggeration, but for me, that's my experience, especially now that I'm not there anymore. So I want to know, for people who have been thinking about New York or possibly moving to New York, what the opportunities there are really like. How was the job scene in New York for you?
So mine was again, this is really when the universe really conspired talaga.
Mhm.
So the time I was really I arrived in the States December, and then my tourist visa will end June. So before it ended, I wanted to make sure I visited New York because that's where my family nga. And then
Mhm.
I'm in
Mhm.
the United States
Mhm.
already. This is it. So I had to really visit before I went home.
Mhm.
And of course, again, the
The
universe,
universe, the
God, whoever.
universe.
Yes, my angels. So a friend said, "Yeah, what are you doing here?" It's like, I'm visiting family. And again, si Batman din. Sabi ko, bakit si Batman? Sabi niya gano'n. And she goes, come here to our office. So basically, what happened was, meron silang, kasi meron silang parang super agent na sobrang galing and needed parang an assistant. So super errand girl talaga
Mhm.
ako. Kumbaga, not a job, but to assist. And they will pay me.
Mhm.
Ang bait
Mhm.
talaga ng universe, 'di ba? So,
Mhm.
but because I wanted to extend, so I had to think of a way. And then my friend knew how to do it through student visa.
Mhm.
So although it was just a tawag ng school of school bukol, simple school lang, but I didn't want the hassle
Mhm.
of, I know we all know about TNT, and I didn't want that. If I didn't get stay in New York
Mhm.
or in the States legally, I'm gonna go back home to the Philippines. So
Mhm.
anyway, everything was fixed. I was able to fix the student visa,
Uh-huh.
and then yun nga, naging errand girl ako. As in, taga-deliver lang talaga ako ng mga POS system that's like point of service kasi nga for the restaurants
Mhm.
and stores and everything. So, yun yung ginawa ko. Talagang taga-deliver nung machine ng
Mhm.
pag-swipe ng credit card.
Uh-huh.
That was just and other things that have to be done at the office, but basically just to help kasi nga sobrang niyang daming
Mhm.
kliyente. She
Mhm.
can't do
Mhm.
it on her own.
Mhm.
So yun, and with that, I was able to, because nga as Kia said, $3 from one, it's not
Yeah.
like, like Makati to Mandaluyong. No, it's like Makati hanggang Bulacan. Ganon. Or
Yeah.
far. It's really
Yeah.
far. And
And
that's
then kung yeah, right, kung
$3.
dagdagan mo pa ng mga $5, mga hanggang Laguna pa yan hanggang
Sobrang layo
hanggang
na Laguna
right?
talaga.
Yeah.
Tarlac na talaga or something like that. So, and it's really, if madiskarte ka talaga,
Mhm.
and you know how to compute, ito na naman tayo sa
Mhm.
finances, 'di ba? You will survive, 'di ba? If you know how, and yun nga, there are chances for you to be able to go around. I
Mhm.
mean, to go around Central Park is such a beautiful place already,
Mhm.
and it's for free, 'di ba? Anyway,
Yeah.
so that was my job then. And then I was studying. So, kahit minimum talaga ako nun. But it worked out.
Yeah.
I don't know how it happened. Miracle. I was able to get also my apartment. Again, I was living in New Jersey because, as advised by my momsies, no, Ross, Kia's wife, to look there because it was so near. And
Mhm.
again, the universe was just so kind. It was that time that the New Jersey New York Transit were just merging.
Mhm.
And for 1 month, they had a free um cruise naman sabihin ko, no? What's that again? That boat
Shuttle
from,
or a
no, it's a
ferry,
boat.
ferry,
Ferry. Sorry
ferry.
about that. Ferry from New Jersey to New York in, the financial district for free for
Mhm.
1 month. Imagine those little perks talaga.
Mhm.
So, talaga nagfe-ferry ka, kita mo talaga Statue of Liberty, and then you go to work, you do what you have to do. I was
Mhm.
able to go all the way to the Bronx. I mean,
Mhm.
and then I was able to go to Coney Island. Isang turn, oh, I'm here na. Isang ganon because nga the
Adventure
subways,
talaga.
adventure
You know,
talaga.
you were
And then,
so busy during that time. I didn't know that you did all these things. And now hearing about it, parang adventure talaga. And that's why nakabisado mo yung subway system and everything about New York.
yes, and then kasi so subway until ano yun, Jersey na, and then under the
Diba?
Hudson River, the
Hanggang
path. So it's
Queens, hanggang
really
Flushing ka pa nun. To Brooklyn.
exactly
Parang
Flushing.
5 boroughs ka ata nun every day. 5 boroughs ka ata
Imagine mo
eh.
yung Flushing, that's where I study, and then I had to go Mat 11.
Mm.
Pero at that, your energy again,
Mhm.
it's really different. Yun nga yung dun nga yung sa subway again story. You'll see everyone there. That's what I also realized na yun. You think about ako naman every time in a different country. I love naman the Philippines, Manila. Pero iniisip ko, dapat ganito. So, yun ang lagi ko iniisip, dapat ganito tayo sa Manila. I mean, um, like, what I really realize is that the unsheltered people nga, they know their rights.
Mhm.
So, they know that if I have money, to ride the subway, I can take the subway. No
Mhm.
one will stop me.
Mhm.
In the Philippines, dugyot ka lang, you're dirty. The security guards won't even let you
Mhm.
step
Mhm.
inside. Even though meron kang pera to ride.
Yeah.
Gusto mo mag-MRT kasi ang layo. 'Di ba? Doon ako
Uh-huh.
na-frustrate na parang people in New York know the rights. They know what they can do
Mm.
anything they want. Feeling ko nga
Uh-huh.
since the homeless, trip lang nila minsan feeling ko lang. I mean, di ba? Or the unsheltered people,
Yeah.
maybe because they can survive. You can see the unsheltered, they will talk
Or
people
natutulog sila sa
or
train or
or the people who are in the business suits, maybe smoking and then there's somebody there sitting down. They will have a conversation.
yeah, it's
You
not a
will see.
big deal.
It's
Also
not a
because New York
talaga.
teaches you that you can't judge people based on what they're
Yes.
wearing. And even the dirtiest person, di mo alam baka scientist pala yan.
Sobrang smart.
Or sobrang well-dressed, they
Artisan.
could actually have no money. Like you teaches you that you don't know who you're dealing with at any point because
Exactly.
of everyone that's able to mix with each other during like
Yes.
just a subway ride.
And they'll have good conversations.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll just hear it. So anyway, that was my job then. Diba? Errand girl talaga to deliver the machines and
Mhm.
had a good time. And then I was studying. So that's why nung time na yun talagang thank you lang ako ng thank you to that mighty, I don't know, supreme being who was ever there to help me experience and
New
really
York.
embrace
It
the
was
New
your
York
dream.
accent. Yes. I
Because
didn't
it
even
could have
think na,
turned out, right?
yes,
Because
I
it could
could
have
have
been
been,
like wala kang job or wala ka ng funds
yes,
and
uwi
you
na ako ng
wouldn't be able,
Pilipinas.
right? But then you were
Mm.
able to stay for a bit and your experience, your New York experience was actually so great.
Yes, 'di ba? Eh, ikaw, how about you? This is a good story also eh, your
This is
job
an
experience.
example of everybody being in New York, right?
Yes, everyone.
Because when I first arrived, this was before marriage equality. So my wife couldn't marry me, right? For to give me papers. So I had to find a sponsor sa job. So I had to rely on kung ano ba yung degree ko, which was vet med. So wala naman akong kakilala. So all I did was just send resumes. Like I have a picture actually of this na I had lined up all my letters on the dining table. May lollipop pa nga ako nun eh. And then I was about to mail them. So minail ko lang siya lahat. I got the yellow pages pa nun. Tapos I just sent my resume to everyone. Like all vet clinics everywhere in New York City plus tri-state area pa nga. May sumagot parang 10 blocks from the house.
Nice.
So, I went for an interview. Tapos pagkapasok ko dun sa office din, nakaupo ako at sini-interview ako. Two white guys. Tapos sabi sa akin, "So you graduated from the University of the Philippines?" Sabi ko, "Yes. Do you know my school?" Because it's so rare to hear that outside of the Philippines kasi parang mali ba nila. And sabi ko, "Why? Do you know my university?" And then they pointed at their diplomas in the wall kasi pareho silang nag-vet school in the Philippines. One is UP and one is Araneta University. Because during that time, 70s and 80s, vet school was very expensive in the US. I think tatlo pa lang yata yung vet school and it was very competitive and very expensive. So a lot of Americans were going to the Philippines or other countries to go to vet school. And it just so happened that the Philippines had really good programs kasi yung mga professor, mga taga Cornell, they had like PhDs. They were really, really good. And also, the medium of instruction is English. So Philippines was really a top choice kasi yung iba nag-Italy, but it's hard because you have to learn Italian. So, but Philippines was easy because nga English. So, all they had to say is like, "Oh, we graduated from the Philippines," and then they said, "Well, whatever you know is what we know because we had the same professor, so you're hired." And I said, "Will you sponsor me?" And they said, "Yes." So, like, the chances of that happening are one in a million. It's very, very hard to get a job, first of all, in a very specific field. And to get a visa sponsor is almost impossible. But only in New York will you find out of the middle of, it's not in the middle of nowhere, it's Brooklyn, but like someone like me who doesn't know anybody walks into an office and these white guys are just like, yeah, we went to UP, we know all your professors and
Wow.
whatever. And it turns out that I recognize one of them because we used to go to the same gym in Los Baños. Parang sobrang, oh my God, like things that just happened in New York. Actually, I just remembered that the other doctor who went to Araneta naman is another New York story. I think I was on a trip, weekend trip somewhere in Vermont or upstate New York. Tapos anyway, we like to go to antique stores, yung mga thrift shop na ganyan. Tapos meron sa book section, nagtitingin lang ako ng mga old books. May na-recognize ako na familiar binding. You know, yung lubang hardbound books in the Philippines, yung pag may photocopy ka ng book or whatever papabind mo, it's like yung pagka-hardbound niya tapos gold yung letters on the side.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I just picked it out kasi sabi ko, this is very familiar binding. Ano kaya to? Tapos pag open ko ng book, it's like an anatomy book ng dog anatomy that I'm familiar with the books. Like, oh, cool. Like, you know, it's it's the book that I know from school. But I wonder bakit familiar yung binding niya. Baka ganun din yung bindings sa States or whatever. And then when I looked at the cover, it was the actual textbook of my boss from vet school in the 70s in Manila. And when I gave it to him for his birthday, and he said to me, I didn't bring this to the States. I threw out all my books in the Philippines. I did not bring this to the States. But it
Oh,
ended up
wow.
it
This has.
ended up in Vermont. And he was just like, oh my God, I'm so shocked. Like, how did you find this? It was just like a miracle or whatever. But these kinds of things is like happen to you all the time. So it's really, really interesting. So was the start of my journey.
Wow.
Of course, it wasn't easy. It was a very hard job being sponsored, having a work visa. It's really, really tough. You know, I have my own complaints about that particular job. But that was the start of my career there. And also when it was time for me to leave that and kind of like pivot and try a new industry. Again, another New York story. You just kind of like put yourself out there and then someone will recognize your talent or whatever. And I was able to pivot from vet med to finance. Right. And that's where I started also my career. Right. So lots of great
Lots of
things and that's
kwento.
if you talk to people who lived in New York, they all have like some crazy New York story. Actually, that would be very interesting actually to ask people, what's your favorite New York experience? That's something that can only happen in New York. Parang I'm sure that people will share so many
Outrageous. Yes.
things,
Outrageous
right?
stories,
You know,
really.
and then yeah, so we've been raving about New York for the past, actually time flies again, 1 hour
Already?
plus, because we love to talk.
I know,
We
we
need to
do.
talk
My
about a
goodness.
little bit of the downside and what people say about New York. And they say that people in New York are mean, they're not friendly, they're rude. Did you experience this?
You know what? Siguro, I really have, maybe I didn't really think about it then because I feel that they just mind their own business. That's it. Kumbaga, I really haven't really experienced the really
Mhm.
bad ones. Um, no, maybe siguro from other people
Mhm.
nagsisigawan doon na nadaanan mo lang. You
Yeah.
just passed by and you
Mhm.
saw it, but not to me directly because
Right.
I believe that they really just mind their own
Mhm.
business. And if you're just, and then I think naman talaga if they see you, they would help naman. Like,
Uh-huh.
if
Mhm.
you saw the 9/11 experience, grabe, dun mo talaga makita how New Yorkers love New Yorkers.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, whoever, yung caring factor nandun eh. So, yun, I think like they're not rude. It's just they mind their own
Mhm.
business. And of course, in
Mhm.
any naman cities, there will always be crime. There will be, um,
Mhm.
you know, not really good things. And
Mhm.
of course, it's not a perfect city.
Mhm.
But when I was there, I really, yeah, I can't remember anything na bad experience or something that made me get really scared.
Mhm.
It's really, I think, a mindset. Syempre, we watch movies, we
Yeah.
watch the news. Of course, the news will always highlight the scary, what's
Mhm.
interesting, 'di ba? They think
Mhm.
is interesting for the people. And of course, um in the news, 'di ba? And then in the movies, syempre madi-discriminate din talaga naman yung, the black race, and then you always think that there's a negative.
Yeah.
Hindi naman talaga. When you're there, sometimes I think they're the coolest people because they're so talented, and sometimes they're funny. They're just very outspoken
Mhm.
people, I think. Um, because I think it's also within their culture, 'di ba? They have to
Mhm.
stand out
Mhm.
because they've been discriminated for a long time. So I don't think that I felt the rudeness. But if you're the kind of person who's, you know, doesn't like people who are loud, or those walang pake, or will just move, and then you will feel that. But if you have an open mind and
Mhm.
open heart, I don't think I really, luckily naman, I didn't naman experience that.
Mhm.
Ikaw, how about you? Did you experience anything like that?
When I hear about that, when I hear like people say, "Oh, people in New York are rude or not friendly or whatever," they don't say hi. People in New York are just very, very busy. Very, very busy. Everybody has a place to go and place to be. They're always in a rush. They're catching the next subway train. It's just part of you. You're not even late for anything, pero pagka nandiyan yung subway, tatakbo ka talaga kahit na hindi ka naman late. Even if you're not supposed to be wherever you're going until the end of the day, pag narinig mo talaga yung subway, parang you just have to run kasi talagang it's just part of you. So anyway, like it's a fast-paced city. People are used to getting what they want immediately, and they're used to not wasting time because time is money. And sometimes you plan 10 things to do in your day or in an hour. So that's what you have to do, and you're not gonna let anyone get in your way. It's not the same as in other places na medyo relax, na parang sometimes we talk to people from California na may kailangan relatives na, oh, kamusta niyo yung document that I need you to sign para ma-finalize tong lupa in the Philippines or something. And then you'll hear pagka taga California, kasi I don't have paper. So I have to go and buy paper for my printer. And I'm not gonna do that until next week. That's ikaw parang tinga New Yorker. Parang, I sorry, parang, what do you mean? What do you mean that you don't have paper and you're not gonna get this to me within the hour and I have to wait until next week? Parang, you just don't understand because other places are just so relaxed and it's like they tell you, parang relax. It's fine. But in New York, you don't have that time. There's
Yes,
expectations and you're
exactly.
fast. So a lot of people think that New Yorkers are not friendly, but if you're ever in need, like try just being observant or try falling or slipping or crying. Someone will come and ask if you're okay. Someone will help you if you really need it. Like probably not doesn't even happen in all cities in the world where you actually like if you need something like listen, I lost my phone. Can I just use your phone? Not every like I don't know kung may magpapahiram sa'yo sa Manila or other places. But someone will help you. And I find that a lot of people are genuinely helpful and friendly in New York. And I can't say that everywhere else. Meron ngang, they said, I think it's a meme that I saw recently that they said that West Coast people are friendly but not nice. But
Oh.
East Coast people now, they may not be friendly but they are nice. How true kaya yun? I'm not sure how true, but now that I live here on the West Coast, I realized that people are on the surface friendly. Hi, hello, good morning, good evening, how are you? Small talk or whatever. But I'm not sure if they're really there for you or they're just afraid that that you're gonna get shot. Right? Kasi
Yes.
in New York, you will see people like full on halos magpatayan na sila, nagsisigawan sila about traffic or whatever it is, some kind of confrontation that's happening in front of you. But in the end, they will end up screaming at each other for such a long time, but no violence will happen.
Yes.
But everywhere else, they might be nice or whatever, but you're always in danger that someone will shoot you. I guess because of the gun laws na rin. But then there's always that fear. So one conversation I actually like asked my friends, would you rather live in a place where, you people might be free to misbehave and start screaming at each other, but you're in no danger of getting hurt or getting shot, or in a place where people are all behaving because they're afraid of getting hurt, So, which one would you
Yes.
rather have? Like someone, people true to their nature, or or
Yes.
you're just afraid, So these are things that you think about, but 20 years in New York, I can say that I've met the kindest people, a lot of very sincere people. They're busy, so that takes a lot of time away from the chit chat. But,
Yes.
it's a stressful life, but people are still very kind. So, very interesting
Yes.
conversation. And sabi namin, this is gonna be short and 30 minutes lang daw
Oo
yung
nga
talk
eh.
namin. But actually, it's already an hour and like 10 minutes or something. Of course, we always get carried away. So even if we can go on and on about our love for New York, I
Yes.
need to wrap things up by I want to ask you, what do you think is the role New York City will play in your life in the future?
Well, New York City really is my charger. Kumbaga, if I'm feeling down, I know if I just visit that, iba na naman yung energy na makukuha ko.
Mhm.
I know I'll be, I'll be pumped up again,
Mhm.
right? I remember one time, one kwento lang. So I have like really the old iPad, yung iPod.
Mhm.
Sobrang definitely paglabas ko ng subway dun sa, sorry, Memorial, going to walk to Broadview,
Mhm.
sorry, Broad Street.
Mhm.
Sorry about that. Automatic. Alicia Keys, New York. I
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, talagang iba yung vibe na naman that you feel. So I
Mhm.
think that's my recharge city really. If I
Mhm.
feel down and I really need a pump or a boost, New York will always be there. So I cannot not visit it, right? That's the role that New York will uh play for me because I know that the city again. I know I haven't seen a lot because when you go back, you can go and visit another.
Yeah.
Cannot
It's
stay. It's
impossible
possible.
to touch every place in your lifetime.
Exactly. So the next time I know na I'm gonna go to that hip hop history tour.
Mhm.
Anyway, so that's I know if I go back, I'll be visiting another place. So
Mhm.
I'll make sure that I go back because I wanna feel that and learn something
Mhm.
new again. So that's my New York
Mhm.
place for me. And then for you, what is New York now that you're no longer there?
You
Ito.
know, it's the same as you. I feel like moving away has definitely taught me the value that New York had in my life. So I have not found a lot of things that I miss over here where I am, most especially the kind of people that we were so used to in New York and the kind of conversations that we always seem to be having in New York. I can't seem to find, even though, I mean, people around here are not bad, they're friendly, we're making a lot of good friends, but they are not New Yorkers. And New Yorkers just have a certain energy, a vibe, sense of humor, sarcasm, and just like it's really hard to explain, but you're kind of like when you meet someone na parang New Yorker, you just kind of connect with them kasi iba talaga yung vibe, and it's not something that you can teach. It's just something that I think gets like ingrained or embedded in you, and like I feel like I still have so much of New York in me. It's wired into me. There's so many things that I look for, or like uh a vibe that I'm seeking that I can try my best to find out here, but I can never find. So again, it's just like you. Visiting New York is like a recharge moment. And then walking, just like landing in New York, like I mentioned earlier, walking the streets of New York, you feel like you're immediately back. And you feel like if you're part of that machine, that complex craziness, you really feel like you're on top of the world. You really feel like I can do absolutely anything. And I am someone, even if I'm no one, right? You're so invisible, but you feel like, oh shit, no, I'm someone. I can do whatever I want. I can go anywhere. I can get anything. I can meet every kind of person. It's just that accessibility and the world of possibility that's just in your fingertips na hindi mo talaga mararamdaman elsewhere. And it's just
Exactly.
like, when I compare my experience here to my experience in New York, where it just feels like your life can change at any moment without even trying. And then here na parang I have to go out of my way, and then you can like spend the whole month and nothing ever happens. Like, you know, it's really something that I miss. And so it's nice to visit. Um, I feel like our time in New York is over, pero hindi ako magsasalita ng tapos because my wife is so in love and always tempted to go back, even though it was her
Oh.
idea to move all the way out here.
Cute.
So it's always nice to go back and to feel that, and to feel that you're part of that, and most of all, to know that you can navigate that city right away without feeling like you're lost or whatever, and you know that you're part of that, and you know that you can rule that
Yes.
world at any point. It intoxicating, it's exhilarating, it's just such a wonderful feeling. So I think that's the role that New York it will always be inside me. I think it can't be taken out. You can take the girl away from New York, but you can't take the New York away from the girl.
Singer.
Right?
Very, very true.
Right?
Super. So, what will you, ako, final words na ako. I just want to say, if you're in New York, um, because now technology is so good, social media is so good,
Mm-hmm,
there
mm-hmm,
are a lot of free things to do there. It's not like
mm-hmm,
you're gonna spend so much.
mm-hmm,
No, of course, you just have to, if you have a job opportunity to go there, extend a bit, if you
mm-hmm,
have a chance to really go. I mean, if you decide to have a trip in mind that you've saved up,
mm-hmm,
it's okay to go New York. Kahit US yan, iba ang New York. I know a lot of
mm-hmm.
people don't want to go to the US talaga, but you have to visit New
New
York.
York.
Because again, there are a lot of free things to do. It's not, yes, it's an
Yeah.
expensive city, but the free things, the events are so nice. And you
Yeah.
are able to go there and you'll appreciate so much more about the world because of the
Yeah.
people in New York.
I feel like every part of the world is actually New York, especially like European cities. There are little pockets of New York where you just feel like, oh, I'm in Europe, and or any place. There's a
Yes.
Chinatown. It's one of the best Chinatowns actually that you'll
Yeah.
find, right? So highly recommended for, if to add it to your bucket list if you're traveling, if you are gonna make it, kung, you have the opportunity to get a US visa, try to add New York to your list. You don't have to spend a fortune. Of course, it's expensive, but you don't have to do fancy things. You can eat
Exactly.
you can eat the hot dogs and the pizzas and
Oh, the
whatever and have a
pizzas.
fantastic time.
Wala pa tayo
Pizza.
the food talk. My
Yeah, the foods,
goodness. My
craziness. We can
gosh.
have a whole
Yes.
episode just about New
Food.
York food, but
Yes.
pizza, that's what Leah requested when we met in New York just this past month. But we have to wrap it up because we're
Yes.
going to take 2 hours here, and we still have a surprise for you guys.
Yes. So when we were there, we decided to make a little video on
Mhm,
our bridge walk. So that will be part of this episode then. So
mhm,
that's why we want to wrap it up para at least you still have that. And although I'm sure our cuento brought a lot of energy,
mhm.
you have be able to see the little footage we did during. It's a
Little
surprise. Hang on.
visual experience, and not just our cuento. So you have the first-hand visual experience also, and some photos that we took along the way during our very special day that I really have to thank Leah over and over again, because that was such a special day. And so thanks so much
Diba?
for
Unplanned
that.
but nice. So nice. Yeah, me too. I had so much fun. Really. Thank you
Yeah.
also.
So hope you enjoy our video, and also thanks for listening to us again. Great conversation that we had today. Again, Leah, thank you. And I hope listeners learned a thing or two, and maybe it inspired them to add New York to their travel list soon.
Yes, and read more about it. And you'll be able to see us also on our YouTube channel. So this is
Yeah.
also for you to check our YouTube channel. All our episodes have been there as well. So
Mhm.
again, this has been another episode of Salt and Pepe Podcast.
Thanks for listening to us as always. We really appreciate the time that you spend with us. You know how to reach us by now,
Yes.
right?
Everything. So you know already where to find the podcast in the cyber world. Thank you again for everyone for staying. And don't forget, we still have a video of our walk in the bridge.
So stay tuned and tell us what you think because we've been talking to you guys. This is our 7th episode. So nakikita nyo kami ng video talking to each other, but I don't think you've seen us like together, like,
Yes.
walking, especially walking in New York. So it's very special and rare, even for us. So hope you enjoy it and
Yes.
thanks so much for being there.
Thank you. Bye bye. Enjoy the video.
Bye, guys.
Bye bye.
Thanks. Bye. Hi. Welcome to Salt and Pepper New York edition.
Hello! Welcome to Salt and Pepe!
We're on the Brooklyn Bridge. Isn't it cool? It's a beautiful day.
It's a very, very beautiful day and we're having this walk. So, anong history nito?
When Lia used to live in New York, we used to take these walks crossing Brooklyn Bridge and Manhattan Bridge. So, nung nagkataon na we're both here at the same time, I said, let's go and do our walk over the bridges because there's really nothing more beautiful than this. So this is the Brooklyn Bridge and also to the side is Manhattan Bridge.
There. We'll be going there also later. And then later here is... What's this, Kia?
Downtown.
I mean the water.
I think this is Hudson.
Hudson. So yes, so when Kia said you wanna walk, I said yes right away because this is our thing. We would walk all the way and then come back on the Manhattan Bridge.
So I'm so happy to be sharing this with Lia because I
And
don't
again-
know kung magagawa ko ba to if Lia wasn't here.
Thank you. So
Parang kami lang yata yung gusto yung trip
ganito.
na ganito.
Yes.
People might find this boring, but how can you? It's so nice.
Yes, or some people will just do it once kasi nga tourist attraction and then
But we like to do this all the
oh,
time.
look at this. What are these, Ki?
The locks.
Yeah, the locks. So ano yan? What's that lock thingy?
You know what? They already put this barrier here kasi dati they used to put it on the actual bridge itself and it would interfere with the structure of the bridge kasi bumibigat. So, nilagay na nila yan dito so that you can just remove it.
So people put locks parang
Parang
commemorate, yeah, na
Or
they were
to-
here,
Yeah,
friendship.
and also yung mga friendship at saka relationship.
Yun. So they have this already. Parang I think they do this in where? Paris?
They have it in Paris. I think we saw it also in Korea.
Oh,
right?
diba?
There's a bridge in Seoul where they do this. and
As well.
Everywhere, really.
Yes. So we're here today. I told Kia now we'll do some Q&A stuff while we're walking para at least habang dito kami
Something to do.
yes, and we'll post this in our YouTube channel.
That's very
We're back. So I told Kia magkakaroon tayo ng Q&A. So the first 5 questions I have for Kia is like either or. Kia, tuloy-tuloy to ah.
grabe naman. Nape-pressure naman ako. Parang hindi ako ready.
Oh, madali lang. Cake or ice cream?
Ice cream.
The power of telepathy or power of invisibility?
Telepathy.
To make sardo or create a terrarium?
Bakit kailangan pumili? You know what, terrarium? Because, walang because. Wala palang because.
Sorry.
Bawal.
So if you follow Kia, she really makes good sardo and really nice terrariums. Parinig lang naman yun.
Pag dumalaw ka nga sa amin, lulutuan kita and also gagawan kita.
Yes, kahit one lang. Okay. The one you love or the one who loves you?
The one who loves me.
Eto, the best. Behind the ears or the nape?
Ano?
Behind the ears or the nape?
Wait, ano yan? Receiver ba ako or giver?
Ay, ikaw bahala. Receiver.
Ay, shit. Ang hirap naman nun. Bakit ang damot mo?
Receiver.
Bakit kailangan mo? Wait, receiver?
Receiver. Ikaw magtatanggap. Huh?
Behind the... Ang hindi pwede! Bakit mo naman ako papahirapan ng ganyan? I want it all. Charot!
Ay, hindi narinig yung sagot. So what's your answer?
Daya naman. Fine behind the ears.
That's 5 na.
Oh, ikaw. Balik mo ulit. So, ano ba yung una?
Cake or ice cream?
Cake or ice cream?
Ice cream.
At saka mental telepathy
Or invisibility.
Invisibility.
Telepathy din ako eh.
At saka,
I don't mix our doon.
alam ko na.
Ah, ang ganda ng shot na to.
Oh, it's nice. Softball
Oh my gosh.
or kailangan mahirap.
Oo, mahirap na yun. Softball or...
Coaching or playing?
Wow!
Oh,
That's
siga.
hard! Shucks!
Ano? Sige. Mas mahirap yung sa behind the ears at saka
Ayun, madali lang yun eh. Shoot! Playing.
playing.
Mm.
Okay. One way or two way?
Ay, two-way. No questions asked.
No question. Announcement. Anybody who wants to apply, please take note. It's two-way only. Okay? Take note. Don't be fooled.
I have a question. So, if you were going to do an autobiography, what would be your title?
Pek-pek. Charot. Salt and pepper.
Hindi ba to mabilis? If you were to do your autobiography,
Ang
you
hirap
can take your
naman.
time.
Ang hirap naman nun.
O sige, mamaya. O, ito na lang.
Siguro,
sige.
I've always liked the title Still Talking. Kasi parang double meaning siya eh, right?
Why? Ayan, ito pwede ko mag-explain.
Yeah. Kasi parang double meaning siya. Still talking like, I'm still talking. Like parang don't interrupt me or I haven't stopped talking. At saka still talking, parang talking while still. Yan,
ganda.
diba? So,
I like
I've
that.
always liked that. So, maybe one day.
Shakira Shiosa. Ay, Shiosa, sorry.
Hala! Hala! Baka masamit naman.
sorry.
Baka masamit
Sorry,
naman
sorry.
yun. Parang nagpaparamdam.
Gali gano, my
Ala,
goodness.
lagot.
Edit.
Ay, may edit talaga. Sorry.
Okay. And then, last question. If you were to go back in a historical event, anong event ang gusto mo ma-witness? Any.
Ang hirap naman nun.
Take your time. Last question na to eh. You can take your time.
Ikaw muna.
Naisip ko mabilis ako. Ako, bababaw lang ako eh.
Anong gusto mo?
Sobrang babaw. Woodstock.
Oh, actually, that's cool.
I really want
Kreme, syempre ako yung mga iniisip ko mga, ano
Oh,
ba, the falling of the Berlin Wall, the Holocaust, or parang ako yung ano ng mga
Actually, I thought
war na mga
Actually,
ganyan.
yun akin, if it's really political or something, the falling of Berlin Wall. That was in my head, actually.
Or one of the atomic
gusto ko.
bombs. One of the, one
wanna
of the...
witness that?
No, I want to stop it.
Ah, that's nice. Oh, she wants to stop it. That's good.
I don't want to witness it. I want to stop it.
That's nice. Ako rin, if I'm gonna witness, gusto ko yung Berlin Wall, as in. Para
Oh,
positive
you should
and
go
happy.
though. We were just there.
I will. But you went there na before, diba?
Yeah, but you should go there para to see. It's really cool. Berlin is super cool too.
Grabe! Tapos na ang
Tapos
walk
na.
natin.
Pwede naman bumalik. Or pwede tayong pumunta by the water.
Yes.
Because it's also nice there.
So, thanks, Kia. I like that. Did you like that?
Oh, pero hindi enough yung mga natanong ko sa'yo. Ikaw, behind the ears or nape?
Ano,
Wait,
receiver?
First,
Oh, sige, ngayon, giver.
giver.
Oh, giver. Ay,
Diba? Bakit mo ililimit?
hindi. Siyempre, siyempre mas priority mo, di ba? Or mas sexy. I think, yung killer talaga is behind the name.
Oh, okay.
Pero
Receive.
receive. Ano, ears. Behind the ears.
Ako inside the ears.
Ay, killer din yun.
Inside the as in deep, as in
Iba na
eardrums. Kaya kailangan linisin niya yung tenga ko. Ganun yun.
Iba. Ibang intimacy yun. Thank you so much. That's the Brooklyn Bridge
So
behind
nice.
us.
So nice. Look. So cool.
This
Now
is-
we're in Dumbo here to the left.
Ah,
So cool.
Nice. This is Salt and Pepe.
Brooklyn Bridge edition. We'll
See
see you
you
on the
soon.
ground. Thanks for letting us spice up your day.
Keep on listening to Salt and Pepe Podcast.
Konting alat
Konting anghang.
and Pepe all around.
This has been Lia.
And Shakira.
See you next time.